Hi everyone, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to the 9th episode of the podcast, Each One Teach 10, an amazing world of STEM, an inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. And you know what? Today I'm very excited because this is the first time ever I'm doing a live stream with a very special guest. And let's have him here. Dr. Brian Johnsrud, who leads the Global Education Curriculum Strategy for Adobe, including all of the content on Adobe Education Exchange. He is former K-12 teacher and university lecturer and researcher. He holds a master's degree in literature and anthropology from Oxford University and an interdisciplinary PhD in humanities, media, and education from Stanford University. It's my pleasure to have you here on my podcast. How are you doing, Mr. Brian?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Me too, and I'm very excited. So, our audience watching us live are here, and I'm sure they're eagerly waiting to know more about you. So, please tell us about yourself.
Well, as you mentioned in my introduction, and congratulations on doing your first live stream. I feel very
Thank you.
honored to be here for the first one.
Me too.
Currently I work at Adobe, the incredible software company that creates these globally known creative tools. And in particular, I get to work in the world of education. So I get to help design solutions and curriculum, teaching resources and courses for everyone that wants to use these digital and creative tools for learning in the classroom, whether that's primary and secondary students, in higher ed, at colleges and universities. So it's an incredible job. I get to spend a lot of my time with teachers and students, trying to really understand the kinds of learning or activities that they want to do in their classes or in different subject areas. I'm going to figure out the best ways that Adobe's tools for creativity and communication can really help them do even more exciting things. So I have an incredible job. I love what I do.
Me too. I also love what I'm doing, and I'm also loving from you as well. And all of you here, please feel free to drop out your comments, and I'll feature them over here. So we have Miss Karima Babur, excited, wonderful session, and I also posted welcome everyone for the wonderful session. We have Amite Gamaji, watching from Sri Lanka, Vinathala. Good luck. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's ask you some questions now. And I actually believe that creativity is the elixir for life. And it is one of the most important skills that we students should hone to be equipped with 21st century skills. So I wanted to ask that if you could tell us some ways that teachers can have a spark and can enlighten creativity in the classrooms.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics. First of all, I like to start by defining creativity. So lots of definitions of what creativity is. And I think a lot of people often when they hear the word creativity, they think artistic expression, right? Like good at drawing or good at painting. But for me, creativity is actually a much broader way of thinking. That's a uniquely human trait that's best defined, I think, as the ability to create something that's unique and valuable. So I can create lots of things that are unique, right? I could very quickly take a piece of clay and make a statue. And then the question is like, how is it valuable? And there can be utilitarian value. Does it help me do a task, do a job? Does it spark joy? Does it make me think in different ways? So those are my two tests for creativity. And I think also the challenge for teachers is when you're asking students to engage with math or science, are you always finding ways for them to do something that is unique and valuable?
Yeah.
So, for example, math. It can be so easy to just learn math as a formula, where there is one right way to solve an equation. Now, that's valuable, right? Because we do need
Yes.
to learn some things are procedures, and you just need to do the procedural piece. But after a while, the beauty of math is what happens when 10 different students all get to the right answer, which is valuable, but they get there a slightly different way through thinking differently, through visualizing division as parts of the whole. That's creative thinking for me. And that's
Wow.
when we can find an opportunity to say, okay, eventually being able to do everything the same way stops being as valuable, because then we can just have one person do it the same way as everyone else. Or we could
Yes.
even have machine learning or artificial intelligence do it. But if you can then find a unique way to solve a math problem, or in science say, I'm actually going to design an experiment that's never been designed this way before to answer a question in a way that I don't think anyone's asked it before. That's when discoveries are made. And that's, to
Yes.
me, what creativity means.
Wow. I truly agree with your thoughts. Like just having a simple math problem, and then you have a very unique way to teach that math problem. Like, I'll just share you one of my experience. Um, It's like there are pictorials, you see, in the classrooms. The students actually don't understand how to just learn that math problem. But our teachers, they use pictorials or even some different creative ideas by creating posters and giving us some word equations and combining everything. And in the end of the day, like it's fit in our mind. And yes, now we've learned it because we actually understood it from the perspective of a creative thinker, not just like adult learner. So I actually agree with your thoughts on that. Okay, so I wanted to tell you, Dr. Brand, that I'm leading a student led club in my school by the name You Can Even Learn. So I'm trying to create awareness that each ICT tool and application can be used for STEM learning. And in this virtual world, I wanted to know that how can teachers engage students using Adobe tools by gamifying it?
Yeah, I think you asked such great questions, first of all. Thank you. You're
Thank you.
making my job very easy because these questions are wonderful. I think there's two things. I think one is with every tool, whether it's a technical tool or a book or a pencil, always asking, what am I trying to do in learning or in teaching that I can't do without this tool, but if I use this tool, now I can do it. And
Yes.
that can be, well, I want my students to collaborate. And so their individual desks sitting apart from each other aren't going to be the best tool for this. I need a big table where they can all put their seats around. And that's finding a right tool for collaboration. And so I think Adobe tools for visual expression of understanding, for communicating understanding, are always just world class. But to
Yes.
your question in particular for gamification, you're seeing me do this teacher thing where I like to always define my terms before I talk about them. For me, gamification is really about motivation. Less something being fun and more if I kind of intrinsically am motivated because I want to do well, I enjoy doing this task, it's enriching and fulfilling for me. That's intrinsic motivation. And when things feel fun or you can bring yourself more to the task, that's something important with gamification. And then there's also extrinsic motivation that comes from games. Like maybe I get to work with others. Maybe there's a prize. Maybe if we all do it really well, we'll get something, even if it's a badge or an award.
Yeah.
So when I think about gamification, I actually step back and think, is there some tool or pedagogy here that's going to make my students and myself more internally motivated and externally motivated? And then we don't have to think about gamification as in like a video game, but actually
Yeah.
something that really increases motivation, because we know from learning science, the more your intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to pay attention, and the more you're going to remember that information in the future. So for example, I'll use Adobe Spark, which I love. It can be such a great way. Let's use the math example we were saying to say, like, I want you to create a Spark post and visually show me what goes through your mind when you try to figure out 10 plus 12. And now students are saying, well, I think of it as 10, and then I break 12 down into 10 and 2. So then I go 10 plus 10 plus 2, and that's mentally how I think about 10 plus 12. And now everyone's creating the little Spark post and showing the first step and how they break things down. That's just kind of intrinsically fun, because now I can say, like, well, and the 10 things I care about are penguins, and the 12 things I care about are golden retriever dogs. So now I'm actually using those images. My intrinsic motivation is so high right now. Like, I'm really having fun.
You're getting creative ideas.
Totally. And then if I say, and then we're all going to share our posts, and then we're going to do a quick vote, and the post that was the funniest, we're going to give a certificate to. And the post that was the most interesting way that we've never thought of solving that before will get an award. Now suddenly Spark is less about the tool and more intrinsic motivation, self-expression, extrinsic motivation. The learn becomes so much more memorable, and I'll probably never forget how I mentally solve that, because as I've just shared with everyone watching, I do love penguins and golden retrievers. So I'll never forget 10 plus 12 now.
Yes, and even that reminded me of one of the things that I made using Spark. So there was actually a line, I think it was, I fell off a horse when I was 8. My mom got scared. I was scared. We both had fear and anxiety. Complete the creative writing. So I actually created a thing that had 4 images. So there was, I fell off a horse when I was 8. So one box had a horse and there was a person riding about a fall. Second comes like my mom got scared. So my mom's, hey, what happened? That kind of image. And I was scared, like a person who's getting scared, fear and anxiety. So that actually helps me to understand everything easily and write the creative writing rather than just reading that couple of sentences and then writing the creative writing. So actually Adobe tools help a lot with that, like using Photoshop. We can create whatever that comes in our mind, in our imagination. And I personally am a very big Adobe tools lover. I've been using them for a while now, and they've actually helped me to improve a lot with my like creative skills. Also, I'm making me understand the concepts.
I love that. I'm going to share one more story, if it's not sidetracking our questions too much.
Sure, we would love to listen.
The example you just shared, I'll put a link in here and then see if you can find it. That's so similar to one of the activities we created this past year as part of our Khan Academy series. So Khan Academy, one of their amazing courses is called Pixar in a Box. And it's all the lessons from how the people that make Pixar's animated films think about storytelling and think about characters. And so we created this whole series of activities where you can follow along and use Adobe tools to design stories and characters using the same process the creative folks at Pixar use. And one example that they used from the film Inside Out was really thinking about a character and their motivations and using different colors to represent them. So you can see in that animated film, you know, the character that's angry is red and the character that's a little sad is blue. So then you can pop open Spark and say, like, no, you think of that character falling off of a horse, and tell the pieces, but now use color, use style, use font choices to evoke the emotion and the mood. I so love that set of activities, because you can start with Spark and then get all the way up to the same professional tools that people at Pixar actually use, all within Adobe's tool set. So I'm so glad that activities like that resonate with you, and I can't wait to see your story.
Yeah, and I actually love that movie Inside Out. That's great. And even like the thing that you told with Spark, if we can also create something similar to that with different cartoons with our imagination, so that's also where we can jump in on the creativity. So I've been believing that children should be equipped with the four C's. in STEM. So, why is it important according to you, and how is Adobe facilitating for the same?
Yeah. So for folks watching, the four C's, as they're commonly referred to, are creativity, which we've discussed, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. For me, these skills have always been important, but in the 21st century in particular, there's new opportunities and new challenges that really call on the four C's. So for instance, look at where we're at in the world right now with COVID, right? Being able to collaborate feels even more important than ever, and being able to use digital tools to do so, like what we're doing right now. This is, in my mind, collaborating. We're sharing
Yes.
ideas, we're bouncing it back, we're learning from each other. If we didn't have the ability to do that and the tools to use it, so much would be lost and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yes.
So with those four things, I'm actually going to ask you for an example. What's a subject or topic in STEM? And then I'll kind of show how I think the four C's are really important for that. What's a STEM topic that you find really interesting these days?
STEM topic, if I talk about that, I think I find the topic that is related to more about science. You can say the things that we're actually studying in the classes, even those can be related with STEM. Like we studied about the transportation with plants. So in that we studied about all the science that we had in it, and with technology, our teachers taught about it using technology. They use different pictorials, graphics, and we have the other aspects coming on it. So they also made that using the Adobe tools like the Spark Post. So we were given a task that wherever we've learned in the biology chapter 1, that was transportation and plants, we had to create that using our creativity and the STEM based skills using whatever the Adobe Spark. And that helped us to actually realize and visualize whatever we've learned, kept the book aside, no cheating, and then creating it, sending it to our teachers. So that helps us to actually understand and revisit everything that we studied. So that's one of the example, and that's one of the things that was done well, like in my club as well, that I taught them about Adobe Spark Post, and then I told them, okay, whatever you studied in the chapter, maybe it was geography, go and create a geography post. Then it was like about a web page. So whatever you studied about overpopulation in geography, create about that in a post, and then a video. Whatever you studied about maybe in maths or science, create a video. So that helped them using the STEM skills, creativity, and also thinking, critical thinking, problem solving. So all of them are actually interconnected. It's not like it's only STEM and it's only four C's. We can actually connect them together and then look at through a different perspective.
It sounds very exciting. It also sounds like you had fun learning that.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about what you shared was, it's very important to learn about transportation and energy in plants.
Yes.
Full stop. And you could learn that with a multiple choice question. Like, do you understand photosynthesis? Do you understand energy? And just kind of get the basics.
Yes.
But the bigger question is, but why are we learning this, right? We're learning this to do something in the world with that knowledge at some point. Whether I'm planting a garden or I'm becoming a botanist or a scientific researcher, the ultimate end goal is to not just know those facts in my mind, but to do things with them. And the four C's prompt us to say, actually, let's not just give information. Let's give information that requires some critical thinking. So imagine you know this about a plant, and imagine you know what the sun is like today. Now put those pieces of information together and make a hypothesis. Now I'm critical thinking the kinds of things you'll want to do in the world. Now tell people what you think is happening. Now I'm doing the kinds of things a scientist would need to do to report out on my results. And I'm using communication. Design a unique experiment with plants. Now it's creativity. Now, like, work with others because maybe it's a community garden you're building. So I love the four C's because they naturally push us towards now that you know these facts and figures, like, so what? What can you do with them? And then we start thinking of careers and hopefully ways to make the world a better place, whether it's in our personal lives, our civic lives, or through our careers.
Yes, and actually, they're all interconnected. We can't just do creativity. We have to collaborate, we have to communicate, and do everything that we want to do. So,
Absolutely.
yes, on Adobe Education Exchange, I personally have seen this. There is so much engaging content that I've been loving doing everything on that. So, please share how students in India can take advantage of this resources that Adobe is providing.
Absolutely. So for those of you watching, the Education Exchange is our free platform at Adobe, primarily for educators to discover courses, learning, teaching resources with thousands and thousands of materials. But a lot of those materials are also what we call student facing. So you'll notice in our Khan Academy materials, they don't say, okay, teacher, first do this, and teacher, second do this. They say, all right, student, first do this, and now watch this video, and now open up Spark. So it's an incredible amount of resources, first of all, for teachers to learn a lot about the things we've been talking about. Like what is creativity? What does it mean in my subject area or for students at the ages that I teach? And then a lot of teaching resources, projects, activities, which you can use as is, but you can also then just take and edit and adapt. So maybe you find a really awesome activity about making an infographic let's see, what's one we've done recently? Oh, an infographic of a cell for biology. And now you're saying like, this is the cytoplasm and this is the mitochondria. And you say, well, oh, this is so great, but we're actually not doing cells. Right now we're doing parts of a plant. It works just as well. Like swap out cell, use parts of a plant, and you're still using Illustrator or Spark Post and identifying things and clearly labeling and using arrows to draw connections and flows. So that's the spirit of the Education Exchange. Thousands of resources made by teachers, for teachers, with projects that are engaging for students. And it's just really fun because we keep adding, about 1,000 new resources every year. So we're up to tens of thousands of resources. So we really think there's something for everyone somewhere on the Education Exchange.
Yes, everyone needs something actually to learn, and the resources that you've been providing are awesome because the students who can actually understand, they can use these resources being provided by Adobe, because those will actually help you to groom and get your concepts cleared, and also in a fun and engaging way. And it's been very inspiring to listen from you today, all the thoughts that you shared. So if you can tell that where our audience can find you online.
Yeah, the best way to find me and the things that me and my team create and put out on the world is the Education Exchange, edx, edex.adobe.com. And there you'll see all of our videos, our courses, and our teaching resources. And just a note for this group as well, we also put all of our tutorial videos and everything from our courses on our YouTube channel. It's Adobe for Education on YouTube. So you can find, quick videos on school projects that are exciting for Spark. You can hear inspiring
Can you
stories
name
from
the
other
channel
students
again?
and teachers. Absolutely. It's Adobe for Education on
Okay,
YouTube.
I'll put it for you in the chat box. There you
Perfect.
go.
And I can, I was going to get the link, but you're so fast. Amazing.
Actually, because you are a guest here, so I don't think you'll be able to comment. You'll only be able to give me a private chat. So I'll be doing it for you, to the people here.
Look at you. It's your first live stream and you're already a pro teaching me how to do things. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please go on. You were telling us.
Oh, so those are the main two places where really all the things that I make and design and really our belief about what's important in education and what makes teaching great and how to best support teachers and students. You can find all of that in our content on the Education Exchange and all of the video content on our YouTube channel.
Thank you. And before we sign off, we would love to have a message for the audience by you.
My message, I think, is inspired by what you've done here today, which is be bold and be fearless. Because when it's for the sake of learning and creativity, you can't go wrong. So I love that you said, I'm going to do my first live stream and just try it, because the spirit is we're learning together and you can't go wrong. I
Yes.
think so many people will also view themselves as not creative, or if I express myself, oh, what might happen? If I bring my personality or my beliefs or what I think is special to my project, what might happen? The best thing you can do is just try,
Yes.
experiment, have fun, because especially when you say, I'm just being creative or I'm just trying to learn, then you really just have every excuse to try new things and be innovative. And for everyone watching, to hopefully be as inspired as I am by you and the work that you're doing, Namya, not least trying out a live stream YouTube for
Yeah.
the first time. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, because I've been thinking to do it for a long time. I thought about doing like a Minecraft live stream, but I was fortunate enough to have you here on my first ever live stream on the ninth episode of my podcast. So thank you so much, Dr. Brian, for coming on my podcast. And our audience loved connecting with you and listening to your insights. I'm sure it was for them. And I actually learned that if we teach the teachers to learn by creating curiosity, they will continue learning and teaching students. And I'm sure that you and everyone here will agree that STEM and 4Cs are perfect match for today's classroom. Thank you so much, Dr. Brian, for coming on my podcast. I loved connecting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. And I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one teach 10. Goodbye.